Sarah stood in front of the door, her heart pounding in her chest and her hands shaking as she grabbed the handle. After so much waiting, that moment had finally come, but the intensity of her emotions overwhelmed her. She would never have thought she would be right there, in that room shrouded in mystery, face to face with him. Before you dive into this story, be sure to subscribe to the channel to stay updated on upcoming releases. Enjoy! Sarah had always shown great strength, but she also carried within herself the burden of the challenges that life had imposed on her. With years of experience as a nurse, she approached each day with commitment and dedication, always putting the well-being of her patients first. She had undertaken that profession not only by vocation, but also to fill the void left by the painful separation from William, the man she had once loved with all her heart. But that marriage, which once seemed like a fairy tale, had turned into a nightmare of misunderstandings, selfishness, and power struggles. After the separation, William had used every means at his disposal to distance her from Ethan, their only son. He had managed to gain custody of the boy, taking advantage of his status as a wealthy and influential man. Sarah, devastated, had taken refuge in her work, trying to ease the pain by caring for children at the hospital, the same facility where, ironically, her son now was. It had been a year since she lost custody, a long year in which she had not been able to see Ethan. The idea that he might be so close, just inside that door, gave her a sense of relief mixed with deep pain. It was a cruel fate that brought her back to him. Sarah had enthusiastically accepted the job at that hospital, unaware that among the patients admitted there was none other than Ethan, the victim of a complication following an appendicitis operation. Colleagues described him as an enigma, the young man in the room down the hall, suspended in a deep sleep for months, never receiving visitors or showing signs of improvement. Only a few had access to his room, carefully selected by his father, William. Sarah had discovered the truth almost by accident. One day, talking to a colleague, Sophie, she had asked for information about that very secret room. Sophie's answer was like a blow to the stomach. The boy, Ethan, was her son. The feeling of emptiness that hit her was devastating. Not only had she not seen him in a year, but now she knew he was there, next to her, and that he was lying in a hospital bed without her being able to be with him. Every day, Sarah would quietly approach Ethan's room, hoping to be able to assist him, even if only for a moment. The opportunity came unexpectedly during a particularly hectic day, when she was asked to take over for a nurse who was usually assigned to that room. Sarah's heart began to beat faster as she picked up the boy's medical chart. She knew it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and despite the risk, she couldn't pass it up. As she reached the door, she felt paralyzed with fear and emotion. She wasn't ready to see Ethan like that, but she knew she had no choice. She had to do it. She opened the door with a slow, almost hesitant movement, and when her eyes fell on him, the world around her stopped. Ethan's face was pale, motionless, but Sarah recognized him immediately. Tears filled her eyes, and before she knew it, she was walking over to the bed and stroking it. "I'm here, my love," she whispered, her voice breaking with emotion. "You're not alone anymore." Sarah knew she couldn't tell anyone who she really was, but every day she found a way to be close to Ethan. She touched his hand gently, spoke to him softly, told him stories just like she had when he was a child. Over time, he had learned to move discreetly, to blend in with the aisles without arousing suspicion. No one would have ever imagined the truth, at least until everything suddenly changed. That day began like many others, with Sarah entering the hospital ready for her shift. But the air seemed different, full of tension. There was an unusual agitation among the doctors and nurses, as if something important had just happened. Sarah approached the group, eager to know what was happening. "What happened?" she asked, her heart pounding. One of the co-workers turned to her, his face lit up with a smile. "The boy woke up," he said. "Ethan woke up." Leave a like if you like the story and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for your support. Sarah couldn't hold back her tears. She ran to the room, her heart pounding, and when she opened the door, she saw Ethan, awake, sitting on the bed. But he wasn't alone. William was there, beside her. Her ex-husband looked at her with an expression that wavered between surprise and anger. But Sarah didn't care. Ethan was looking for her. "Where's my mommy?" he asked, his voice full of hope. "She comes to see me every day, I know. Where is she?" Sarah knew she could no longer hide the truth. With a firm step, she stepped forward. "I'm here, my love," she said, and in an instant, Ethan recognized her. "Mom!" she cried, and threw herself into his arms. Their emotions were uncontainable, their embrace full of all the love and suffering accumulated in those long months of separation. William stormed out of the room, unable to accept what he was seeing. Sarah knew the legal battle wasn't over, but at that moment, nothing mattered. Ethan was with her, and that was all that mattered. In the days that followed, Sarah faced even greater obstacles. William tried everything he could to distance her from Ethan, but this time, she wasn't alone. The mothers of the patients she had cared for over the years joined her, appearing in court to support her. Through their testimonies, they described Sarah as a caring, devoted, and attentive woman, always ready to sacrifice herself for the good of her son. In the end, the court ruled in her favor. Ethan would stay with her, and Sarah knew she had won the most important battle of her life.